Hmm. Uh, Hello? Is there anyone out here? Hmm. Huh. It's empty. It's not normally like that. Is there, anyone out here with a coffee pot? Oh, hey, over here. You guys have coffee over there? Hi.
Did you do it?
It? What is it? Did I do it? What? Like the Nike slogan?
What did it cost?
What? How much did this cost? Oh, this was $25 in Australia. So in US, it's like $16, but the exchange rate's a little bit up and down, and I'm not sure what currency you use around here. Whoa, why are you the sad one? I'm the one that accidentally snapped and then made half the games I developed disappear. People can't even buy my 3DS and Wii U games anymore. Okay, your staring is a little confrontational. What would make you feel better? Do you want me to take a look at the character designs for Marvel Rivals? That game just came out. Anything beats standing here staring at each other, so let's go take a look at those character designs. Oh, do you have the Wi-Fi password for this place? Hey, thanks for coming to hang out. I'm Jerrel. Today we'll be taking a look at some character designs from Marvel Rivals. This is a request from many of you who watch and enjoy the channel have asked me to take a look at the character design. So we'll be taking a look. I'm just going to randomly pick some. We'll do an analysis of the design. So this will be a combination, a reaction and an analysis. I actually haven't had a close look at the character designs yet. I know of the game. I've seen a little bit of gameplay footage, so let's go ahead and jump right into it. I'm just going to scroll through the list. I'm going to pick characters that I know, and if people have fun with this and enjoy it, we can take a look at more characters next time. So let's go ahead and head over to the hero list. This is a game that I'd be interested in trying, so I'm going to download this on one of my computers later on. So I do know, I did check where to get the list. If you click on more heroes there, you have the characters here. So I'm kind of biased. I want to pick characters that I'm familiar with and who I know. So we got Wolverine in here. Look, first I want to take a look at Wolverine. Let's see what Wolverine looks like. So what's so interesting about these characters and these designs is that we are already familiar with these characters. We know what they should look like. And so whenever we receive a new expression of this franchise, it's so exciting because we get in a reimagining of these characters. We're filtering them through new perspectives and new ideas. So already I really like what I'm seeing here. So I'm going to see if I can screenshot. Oh, if I screenshot this, then I end up in that. So if I alt print screen, it should just be that window here. Here we go. Okay, so we can take a look at Wolverine here. This is okay. This is my first time taking a look at this. You know, this is really interesting because this is a, a kind of a casual look at Wolverine here because this feels less like a sort of like a formal work uniform because he's got these pants which gives him a very casual, a very casual feeling. So I do like this look. Personally, I really like when Wolverine has a casual look, but I think this is an excellent balance of a casual look combined with some expression of his past outfits or uniforms. As you can see here, we have these very strong uh, shoulder pads here that are built into the jacket. I actually really like the seams here. You have seam lines that are running down through this way, which break up the material. That gives it visual interest. I really like that. Um, the cuffs have a seam here, so while they don't have trim in the form of different materials and colors, they use a seam line there to make it look interesting. You've got a buckle there. Of course, you have the X-Men logo just there. But I just love this because we get an expression of Wolverine's signature colors, which is, of course, the yellow and the blue, which fans will recognize. You know what? I actually like this hairstyle. I'm looking at this for the first time. I really like this sort of longer, free-flowing look to it. It gives him, sort of an animal look to him. Oh, I just noticed it. Check out this art back here. Oh, look at the flow. So this is good art because the basic shapes here show us an idea of movement and an expression of movement. Because we have that, we naturally assume, well, it must flow like that then. Check out the flow on that. Oh, we've got these angles here. This is cool as heck. Okay, I really like the way they've done this. So just very quickly here, we'll have a look at the balance of our tonal values here. So we have our darker tones here. We have a mid-tones, and this is sort of our, we have our lighter tones here and our lighter tones here. And obviously we know that the claws come out. When the claws come out, they are going to basically be the lightest and the lightest tone on that character. So this is really cool. We'll go ahead and just blur this. It's a strong design, and you can see here you have a strong shape of the character. It is the shapes of the overall character. So even from a distance, we can tell who they are and what they are. People perceive colors differently. We do not all perceive colors exactly the same. Some of us are more susceptible or more, we sort of detect colors a bit more strongly, or a certain color more strongly than other people. Other people are less perceptive to certain colors. So it's great to have this body shape here that shows us strong shoulders is a sign of masculinity and strength. We have these massive, thick legs, but check out the distribution of mass. This was an issue that we have with, say, for example, in the previous video where I discussed Ironheart's design from the NCU, and the distribution of mass was all wrong. The distribution of mass here is balanced out by these massive muscular legs. This is a great design. I really like this. This is off to a strong start. Of course, we have the W there for Wolverine. I'm not that kind of guy. I wouldn't wear a belt buckle that has just a big J on it. But you know what? Wolverine's a different kind of guy. And also what I really like here is that the color, the actual color of the point where his claws protrude, they are basically the same color as the boots here, and that gives us visual cohesion. You want your colors to repeat in layers. So while this is not the exact same color as the shoulder pads, we do have visual cohesion by having very similar colors and tones for that being repeated in layers. We also have that here on the X as well. So this is understated. Personally, I would have liked to see some yellow on the boots, but this is fine. I would have actually really liked to see just a little bit of, say, for example, that, and then just along the trim, something like that. Not a big deal, not having it, like, that's not necessary. Obviously, it wouldn't necessarily make it better or worse. This is great. This is fine how it is. That's just my wish fulfillment, Otherwise, I would have been pretty happy taking some of that blue and using that on trim on the boot as well. But I believe they're balancing out the fantastical elements of this design with some level of groundedness, and they are picking key elements on this design to be more reserved. So that is a form of balancing design, and they're not just throwing out as much detail as they can, which is what we've seen in other games that I won't name that were canceled within 10 days of launching and then erased from the internet. That would be an example of just throwing out as much detailed density as you can. Look at all this detail density. Surely that means that I'm a professional character designer if I can throw out as much detailed density, and I can wow and impress people with the amount of detailed density I can put in. Character design is not about detailed density. It's about intelligent and well thought out use of elements, of visual elements, to express an idea and a character. This is great. I've probably gone on a little too long because Logan is one of my favorite characters in all of Marvel. Okay, let's go ahead. Let's have a look at another character here. We'll pick another character. Okay, who's somebody that I think is really rad here? You know, Spider-Man's one of my favorite characters. He's always got so many different designs. So I'm it's some designs work, right? And sometimes they don't. Let's go ahead and have a look at Spider-Man. Okay, personally, I prefer when Spider-Man, when the detail density, I prefer less is more when it comes to Spider-Man. So I'm just going to have a quick look at this. Okay, you know, I actually do like the use of seams. Using seams as trim is such a cool way to make a character really pop, to help materials stand out on their own. This is a character where it looks it's a more detailed dense, and that gives it a technological and advanced look. So I haven't played the game yet, I don't understand it. So obviously there is a focus that they're going for, but I really like details like this, where you see the trim that they've used on this blue area here is still blue. They don't change the color. But you can see it is a different material than the blue on this inner area here. I do actually like that. You can see it catches the light in a different way. The webbing is there to help express the musculature of Spider-Man. It's pretty hard to get Spider-Man wrong. And usually the more that you try to do with Spider-Man is where it goes wrong. For example, we've seen versions of Spider-Man where they do way too much with the leg area. So let me just have a look at this. You know, okay, I do actually like this, and the reason I like this is because the visual elements that we have here, which we often see used, they're overused, they're over-designed in other designs. The reason why this works so well to me is that it echoes the visual elements of the spider legs here. You can see it has a very visual look, and it shares design philosophy with this spider here. Of course, that carries over to this area here, and it stops just here. I think if they had taken this black visual element and then carried that down, it would have been too much. The fact that that red runs to the blue looks great. I think this maybe is not necessary. This, I'm looking at this, and in all honesty, this clutters up the design a little bit for me. That makes it a little bit messy, and I'm just going to, let's just see what it looks like if we take that out. And again, I'm not saying that I would do a better job on these designs, and I'm not saying that they did a bad job here. I just want to see what it looks like if we sort of simplify some of the visual elements here. So let's go ahead, and we're just going to sample that. We're just going to sort of remove that a little bit. So I want to know if I'm wrong in saying that the design looks better without that kidney window. So that took me a couple seconds, and I'm not saying that this is better or worse. For me personally, I personally like it better without the kidney window, but I think it's totally fine with the kidney window. I think this is a cool design. I actually, now that I'm looking at this, I really like, let me get back to my rib. I actually really like this. We often don't see a sort of an elbow pad on Spider-Man, but the way that they've done this, it kind of makes it makes him look a bit more battle ready. And I do like that. I really like that visual element. For me personally, I prefer it without the kidney window, but I don't think that it is bad with the kidney window. I think, again, that's just my personal preference. I really like the material that they use here. This helps Spider-Man's suit feel like something that exists, you know, using actual materials that exist in the real world. It makes it feel a bit more tangible because there's texture to it, but also you can see that it catches the light in an interesting way. This is why material and texture are so important to these designs, is they help us relate to these designs because they're fantastical, they don't exist. They help us relate to them and understand them and sort of believe that they can exist. So material and texture are so important to understand. I actually really like that this blue here is a bit lighter and it is catching the light. So to me, this has a metallic look to it. This has a little bit of a metallic look to it compared to that. I actually really like that. I like that the black is running through here, but I would like to see what the underarm area looks like, but I do like the materials that are being used here. As opposed, and you know, I say, oh, you know, less is more, and I like a simpler design, but this works. I really like this. I actually do like this different material, the seam line that they have there. It looks cool. It looks, and I do actually really like the shoes. These sort of combat boot looks. We've been seeing Spider-Man with the what sort of looks like footy pajamas, you know, with a very light, there's basically no padding for his shoes in the past. That's often a look that we get. I really like this combat boot look. This is really cool. I just want to see... I'm going to sample this color here. I'm just going to see what it looks like if we change the bottom of the boots. I think it'll look worse, honestly. Okay, let's go ahead and lighten that color now. I think it'll look worse if we make those... Oh, that's not going to work well. You know what? Let's just copy the color there. So I think it'll look worse if we make that blue. Okay. Yeah, that's way worse. That's way worse. I think that is a good call. And it's good to do checks like this to see for your own self if you think an idea would work or it wouldn't work. Is just to quickly do that and then determine, is this better or worse? And you can, at that point, understand the process that goes into these designs, the decisions that have been made. Holy smokes, I just noticed this. Yeah, you know what? That visual design element, I like it. This is excellent visual cohesion because we're taking these spider legs and we're expressing that visual design philosophy throughout his character. It's represented here, along the knees a little bit, and here. But also visually, what this tells us this black material here is probably more flexible and lighter than the blue and the red because it's used on the joints here. I believe it's probably used on the joints here as well. So that is visual communication, visual expression, and storytelling. That's so cool. Yes. Oh, great design. Excellent design. Let's go ahead and have a look at another character. I wonder how many we'll get through today. So, oh, let's go through the list. Let's go through the list here. You know who I like? I like Loki. I'm a big fan of... Oh, we have to look at Iron Man. Of course we're going to look at Iron Man. Okay, we're going to have a look at Loki next. So I hugely enjoyed the Loki show. So I'm a fan of seasons 1 and 2. I really enjoyed that. This is a great color scheme. Green and gold. It's hard to go wrong with green and gold. So let me have an eyeball gander at this guy here. This is one of the more visually dense characters, but let's just go ahead and blur this and take a look at the shape of the character here. Okay, and can we tell what's going on here? So we've blurred that, and the important details are here. We have the horns, and then we have this area here. And you can still, now here's a sign of good character design here. Despite the fact that he has quite a prominent cape, the shape of the cape does not obfuscate the form of the character's body, because we can still tell what's going on here, even though it's blurred and we're not able to see all the details. Let's go ahead and perform the rest of the test here. This is an excellent design. Look at this. I can still tell what's going on. Okay? We have the form of the character here. We can still see that. Clear as day. This is a strong design. Excellent. Well done. So despite the fact that this is detailed, dense, despite the fact that there's a lot going on with the colors, this is extremely well considered, well designed. Let's go ahead and just have a look at the layers for checking the visual cohesion. We have the gold on the bottom of the shoes here, which is, I like seeing that. I love seeing the core visual elements repeated in layers because horizontal layers are important. We need to consider reusing our visual elements and our keeping in mind our design philosophy for the characters. Is that the strongest element is this sort of gold for him. It tells us that the character, you know, probably feels a sense of royalty. Oh, wow, look at this. So there's two different materials we have here. We have a kind of cloth on the legs. This looks like sort of cloth or probably some sort of gold leather. And then we have a metallic gold in there as well. So it breaks up the color. We have what sort of looks like, you know, a breakup of material there through those seams. This is cool. We have a narrowing of the knee pads. Generally, knee pads give us a sense of strength, masculinity, sort of brutality, you know, someone that goes in and does battle. But because it narrows at the knee pads, it still gives a sense of strength. But to me, it kind of tells me that the character is probably faster, more nimble, more agile. Very cool. So I really like that. You can see the gold seams. Oh, great. Let's go ahead and zoom in on that. Enhance. Look at that. You can see the gold seam lines on that boot. So it gives us a sense that this is a different piece of material than this one. It makes that character visually interesting. So great. You can see there is internal logic here because this sort of shin pad is actually connected to the body. Actually, that there's this black material. So this is all one piece here. This is, oh man, this is cool. I really like this. You have the scepter here, of course, that expresses the core colors of the character, the signature colors. You have the groin cloth that has, oh, they have sort of inner trim here with that gold on the inside. That's great. So something I noticed with this character is they use angles. This is an angular character. He's quite narrow and thin, and they rely on angles like these harsh triangles here, this square here. Something tells me that if we look at Thor, we will see the opposite, and we are going to see more round shapes. This is what is important to consider, is the context in which the character appears and the ensemble. The relationship of those characters. What other characters does this character relate to? Who do they appear on screen most with? And because Loki's so angular, even look at the expression of the fur here. That's cool. The shoulder pads, angular. Oh man, the more I look at this design, holy smokes. Whew, this is great. Because we know that Loki is related to Thor, and, you know, story-wise he would appear alongside Thor, I'm going to guess Thor is going to be quite round. So what's important to consider is the shapes that you create with the visual elements and the, you know, the dead space of the characters here. But we have what is like an arrow here pointing to Loki, drawing focus. I'm sure it'll be the same on the other side. What we actually have here on his torso is another arrow that would be pointing up, drawing focus to the face area. We have these arrow shapes pointing down that help balance the flow. So it sort of brings the flow up, then down to the character. This is so, oh man, this is great. This might be my favorite design right now. This is so cool. But of course, the horns catch your attention, right? The horns catch your attention. They bring you around. You pay attention to the face there. There's focus. You have these arrows here, the larger, more prominent. You pay attention to the character, and then naturally your focus then flows out to the rest of the character. So I think the flow, the outward flow is a little bit chaotic because it's pulling you this way, it's pulling you that way, it's pulling you that way. But Loki's character is chaotic. He's the god of mischief. So having that sense of organized chaos, that focused chaos, is something that you can consider as a character designer as well. And having that focused chaos here, whew, I have a feeling when we look at Thor's design, it is going to be more focused and more calm. I love this bit of cloth dangling down here on the other side. This is, and then again, we have visual cohesion. We have the fur here, but not only does it appear there, it also appears here. It breaks up the gold and the black. If we remove that fur, it would be quite dull. Having the gold and the black just flow straight down like that. Having that breaks that up, gives it excellent visual cohesion. They would have overdone it if they reused the fur somewhere else, because there are already so many other visual elements to balance with the gold. Look, you have the pattern here on that. Oh, man. Yes. I'm looking at this thing. There's so much to talk about. This is fantastic. All right. I dig it. This is so cool. This is cool. All right. I don't normally get this lively and excited, but I'm looking at this. This is a master level design. Reel it in. Reel it in. We're all professionals here. Reel it in. This design is awesome. All right, let's have a look at Thor now and see if my guesses are right. Where's Thor here? Okay, Thor, the god of punching, the god of fists. Oh, I think I was right. We have a look at Thor's design here, and again we'll compare it to Loki, who's quite chaotic, narrow, slim, angular, and we have a look at Thor, who is focused and round. So again, we have this angular look, you know, angles, angles. And we know, because they're characters that related to each other, that they are different. They are polar opposites, because it makes it interesting. Even his headwear is much more round compared to Loki's angularness. So let's have a look at, overall we have, again, these strong shoulders, thick, chonky legs, good distribution of mass here, because he's got this armor here gives more mass to the lower part of the body. That helps balance out. He's got big, big shoulders, man. Nice. So let's have a look. So we have roundness expressed here on the knee pads. That's quite round. Of course, these, I don't know. Can somebody tell me what these are? They are big buttons, and I've never had buttons on my clothes that look quite like that. But even in the shapes of his muscle mass, it's very round here. Very round on his muscle mass. The legs are round. This is, I would like to know who designed these. I would like to know who drew these, because this is a master class in creating two characters that they absolutely brilliantly complement each other. And this is great. I like how simple this is. This is great. It's simple and focused compared to Loki's chaotic visuals. So this, wow, okay, this is nice and simple. They didn't overdo the colors. There's a bit of red here. I would have liked to see more red. So we don't get that much red. We have a bit here, and that's good. That's nice and reserved. This is a very reserved visual design. I would like to see this in movement, in game here. We have filter. Okay. So if we have a look here, we are drawn to the highlights of the character. These are the highlights. Highlights here. And then we have visual cohesion, because the highlights are used here on the very bottom of the character and on the trim of the boots. So this is an excellent way to have visual cohesion. This is where we have our highlights. We have a little bit here, and I assume it would be on the other side as well. This is a very symmetrical character, and what that is saying is that this is a character that is balanced, probably more wise and mature, because they are he's mature and focused. I actually like this angular plate armor that he has here that offsets how round everything else is on his design. This is interesting. I'd like to see a bit more without the hammer in the way. There's even a bit of roundness in the hammer here. This is cool. I like this design. I would like to see it in movement. I wouldn't say it's my favorite design, but it's good. This is a cool design. Oh, I do like that there's fur, this brown fur underneath the shoulder pads here. Very cool. I like it. I dig it. Let's have a look at another character. Iron Man. Iron Man. Iron Man. All right, so we've seen so many versions of Iron Man. So let me just give this an eyeball gander here and see what they're doing with the design here. Okay, I'm seeing a visual motif here with a particular shape, and that is this shape here. I'm going to change the color of my marking brush for this one. Okay, this visual motif here seems to be repeating. We have these angles here. It's repeated there, it's repeated here. This character has strong visual cohesion because they focused on a shape. Coming up with Iron Man designs must be absurdly difficult, right? Because so many designs have been done in the past. How do you make it new? How do you make it interesting? And how do you not over-design it so it looks like a mess? Because we have seen Iron Man designs that look like a visual nightmare. It's just too much to look at. We have seen that in the past. Right, so what I'm seeing here in this design is they focused on giving more mass to the upper body area, but it's still, say for example, not as much as Thor. But they've specifically given significantly more mass to the forearm area. And this here, this little protrusion is really interesting. Again, we have that visual motif there of that angle. That's sort of, this is cool. Oh, you know what? I like this little gold area here. See on the knuckles? Oh yeah, they give an angularity to the knuckles here. That looks really cool. A little bit of yellow here. Interesting. I guess gold, similar to that. So here's what I like about this design. You have small sections of armor that are raised up from the body, and then you can see the gold underneath it. I like that design philosophy. It makes it look interesting. I actually really like this design. This is not as... I was worried that the Iron Man design would be over-designed, would be overly detailed. This is great. And the 2D artwork, what I really love here is the use of expressing a sense of atmospheric density by having it desaturate and become lighter in the background. They didn't actually have to do that, but by doing that, they help the shapes stand out further, and they help the various parts of the body be easy to understand visually. So whoever did this art, cool. I want to know who did this art so I can see more of their work. This is brilliant. So not only is the design brilliant, the art itself is just fantastic. This is excellent. I personally don't really like when you have, you have this sort of, oh, look at this energy, look at the energy. I don't really like it when it's in the cheeks, because why? It kind of gives me Ultron vibes when you have sort of energy things in the cheeks. And again, I'm not saying that I would do better. I'm not saying that I'm a better artist, because these artists, this is their full-time work, and I only do character designs as one of my tasks. As a solo developer, I have to perform all the tasks for game development, and character design is only one of the tasks. So I don't do character design full-time. I do every single game development role full-time, which means I don't get to spend as much time on my character design. So these people, they're focused on it. They're much more developed in their ability and their 2D art here. See, now I think that's boring. Having taken the cheeks out, I think that looks boring. So this is why it's good to do that. And that looks interesting. I think that's cool. So I think it's better that they've chosen that design. Oh, look at the exhaust vent on the shoulders here. Nice. That's a cool exhaust vent. I like that. I dig it. I think there isn't really too much to say, because this is a well-considered, it's a well-thought-out design. It's simple. All right, so this is quite an understated and reserved design for Iron Man, and it's excellent. You know what, I just noticed the sort of energy expression right there through the arm to create the bicep shape. I just noticed this gold area here. This is cool. This isn't my favorite Iron Man design, but it's certainly a great one. So fantastic. This is nice. Okay, and this is Black Widow. So let's see. Very clear which character this is. She really stands out from the other characters in her overall form here. You can see really what's going on. The gun looks like something that probably goes pretty far. Maybe some sort of sniping weapon. And this looks like a fast character. We can tell probably what this character is supposed to play like. And if we desaturate that, we can still see some detail. But overall, she's quite subdued, which makes sense, because this is a character who is meant to be a spy and reserved. But the strong contrast in colors here keeps things quite interesting. Oh, she's got the little arm things, little widow stingers or whatever they're called. So this is a character, basically this is really only using 2 tones bitonal. We have a little bit of gray here, but I think it's really just black that's catching the light differently. So this is a design where you really need to rely on different materials, because they don't want to overdo it with the colors. She's not supposed to stand out, really. She's supposed to be a spy. So the fact that they're using, which is, slightly different from black, it's still basically black, but a different material is excellent. It also is expressed down through the middle here. That helps give shape to the character here. We have black, red, so Obviously, the red is going to be very similar to the hair, otherwise it's just going to look sloppy if they picked a red that was very different from the hair. And this expresses the shape of the character, but also visual flow, because it brings us down here. We also have these red, I don't know what these are. Power buttons. What do they... What are these? Are they like little flashlights? Are they little light bulbs? So these little red light bulbs, we have the red logo here, and then the flow brings us down, and it just tells us the shape of the character. This is cool. I like these here that give just a bit more color and visual cohesion as we see the layers of the character. This is such a simple design that works great. This is excellent. We have what look like shoulder straps here that give a sense of utility. So even though she's obviously a feminine character, you see the shape of the body, the strong hourglass shape, the wide hips. She still has wide shoulders that give a sense of strength, but they're not wide to where they are so out of proportion that they make her look masculine. This is obviously a female character that looks very strong. Just because a character is female doesn't mean they are weak, especially physically, because we know that the Black Widow is an excellent fighter, and speed has a lot to do with strength. So this is a character that looks very strong, and there's no point in this character that has been made to look masculine, yet she looks very strong and very fast here. And that's because of a strong understanding of visual expression, and using things like shoulder straps just make you look strong. Belts make you look strong, and this sort of thing. I don't know, light bulbs? This helps add mass to the character's forearms without making her look like, you know, a Hulk. We have a shoulder pad here, which gives more mass to the character. We have this pad here, which gives mass to the character, that help her visually communicate the idea of strength without having to make her look like an actual man. Because you don't have to look like a man in order to look strong. And incompetent developers that are taking over, that have been trying to take over the industry, are getting that wrong. They think that you have to make a female look like a man in order to make them look strong. So those people are pretty, well, disappointingly incompetent. They should know better, but they don't actually have an understanding of visual expression. So I love small details like the breakup of the seam lines. They catch the light in an interesting way. You have what is, I don't know, like a port to connect a video graphics card, probably. I'm not sure what that is. Oh yeah, I like this. Look, there's a different material in here. Has sort of a rubber look to it. And you have this nice seam line here, and then you have this sort of armored look as well. She has the high heels, but it's a solid look. So this is cool because it combines the feeling of a combat boot while still making it feminine, giving the idea of a high heel. So this has both feminine and masculine traits to it, because it's like a combat boot, it's like high heels, but it is neither of those. It is its own thing. That shows to me that the people that design this understand visual expression. They understand visual communication. This is cool. This is awesome. I really like this design, and it might be one of my favorite ones because, again, it's not overdone. I was worried that the characters in this would be over-designed and be sloppy and messy. I'm not seeing that. This is really fantastic. Wow. This is really cool. Look, I'll quickly just pick one more character. I'll pick one more. I'm not that familiar with Squirrel Girl, so we'll have a very quick look at Squirrel Girl here. I don't know anything about this character. I assume she's like Ant-Man, where she can assume the powers of a squirrel. I don't know anything about this. So, very briefly, this is a very different character from Black Widow, but you can still see very feminine traits. But again, I feel like this is like a sort of a more, what I would call a common standard body shape for a female. You know, you have quite, you know, medium-sized torso, wide hips, medium-sized shoulders, you know, medium-sized legs. I would say this is a fair representation of a female that is just medium-sized. She isn't overly busty, but she still has a obvious feminine look to her, a strongly feminine look. I like when characters look like this because they're just setting out to make a cool character, right? And it's not about, oh, we need to make them overly sexy. This is not a character that is leaning into sexual appeal, but she still looks cool. You don't have to make a character look, and please pardon my French here, I try to keep my language quite even-tempered, but there are people out on the internet that think that, oh, people are just making female characters look slutty, and that's the only reason the games do well. Those people don't really have an understanding of anything in the real world, because it's not about making characters look slutty, it's about making them look cool for a work of fiction. Wow, I just adore this. Whatever's going on here, it looks like an acorn. So they're taking the idea of a squirrel, they're taking these ideas and they are expanding upon those ideas, they're exploring the ideas, and they are building a visual identity and a core identity for this character based on the idea of a squirrel. You have the fur here that expresses the idea of a squirrel. It is repeated here as well, which is so cool because it breaks up the visual monotony. If we didn't have that, it would look quite plain, because this, realistically, this color is actually quite... It's a similar color, but a darker tone to her skin, and if they make direct contact, it looks quite dull, right? It's not necessarily bad, but it looks quite dull, which is why it's so good that they use the light color of the fur to break that up. See, this is quite a different color from the skin. The leggings here, I love. This is a good use of trim by folding it and then having a different expression of texture with the lines there. Excellent work. Again, you have the repeating of the visual element of the fur there. Look at this. Oh, look at this visual cohesion. You have it here, here, 3 times. This is expressed really fantastic. It's not sloppily done. It's not overly done. It's not over designed. The more I look at this design, the more I respect it, because this is great. This is so cool. Here's what I really like about the use of colors as well. So let's go ahead and have a look. We have this darker brown here, and it's the color that is used for the jacket. We have a lighter brown for the shirt. We'll double back to that. This color of the brown is the same color that is used for the boots. We have, I'm just going to pull this out of nowhere, we have a visual element that is a buckle with a button on it. Do a quick test. Let's see if we have that expressed anywhere else. So we don't, but we do have similar shapes in here. That is a similar shape to the buckle. This is a similar shape to the buckle as well. Then we have the breakup of the material with these seam lines here. That all helps make the character look interesting. These seam lines help express the shape of the jacket, the seam lines on the shirt here. So we have excellent visual cohesion with the colors on the jacket. So again, oh my God, I think this character design is perfect. Oh my God. Holy shit. This is really cool. I really like this character. Look, 1, 2, 3. I'm not doing a count reference, all right? Oh, look at this. So even the rubber on the bottom of the shoes is a similar color and tone to the fur there. Oh, wow. So that it just builds more visual cohesion just on the boots on themselves. That's great. You have oh, look at this. So the color and the tone of the buckle matches the little squirrel fellow here, which is excellent. Strong use of visual cohesion for the colors with the hair, because we have the hair, and we have that used on the shirt as well. The shirt is basically the same color as that. Look at this, the visual cohesion here. Underneath the shirt, there appears to be some sort of Under Armour with the shirt, and that here is the same as the buckle, or the belt. That's basically the same as the belt here. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. And see, this is a situation where they didn't reuse that. So they're not reusing this lower down on the character because it keeps your focus up here on the important parts of the character. It keeps your focus here. You have a patch on the glove that matches the skin color. So it actually helps break up that visual monotony. I just noticed this belt buckle here, which gives us some visual cohesion for the visual element of that buckle there. Oh my God, this character design is perfect. This is the perfect character design. They've done it. They've done it. There's a little bit of visual asymmetry with the pouch here that helps the character look interesting. And then there's this little flourish here. There's a little green, what is that? A little green necklace that matches the color of the character's eyes. Yes. This is... So, I don't want to name other games that I've covered in the past, but there's a game named after an airline that utterly crashed and burned. And it would be so unfair to compare these designs to that. It would be so embarrassing because it's like comparing a toddler's scribblings to the Sistine Chapel, basically. This is a masterclass. This is master level character design work. The people that created this absolutely understand what they're doing. They know what visual expression is. They know what visual art is. They know what a character is. They know what is important about a character. Look, visual cohesion with the gloves and that. And it's not just a glove. You have this wrist area here that gives, that breaks up the shape. Otherwise, we have the shape that goes straight into the wrist. That gives a sense of sort of, toughness. And it gives it a look of armor. But it's also a similar shape that matches the design philosophy of that. Look, the joints there, the joints there. 11 out of 10. 11 out of 10. This is going to receive triple platinum S. The S ranking here. Okay, and let's stretch that out. S. Okay, this design, Squirrel Girl, has earned a triple platinum S. This design, perfect. I've never given any design a triple platinum S before, but this is it, everyone. Thanks very much for coming to hang out, and I hope you enjoyed the video. This was my first time taking a close look at the characters, and I've really enjoyed really seeing these characters. So let me know if there's any other characters you would like me to cover, and if you're playing the game, let me know in the comments if you're enjoying it. I'm going to check one of my machines and see if that can handle the game and run it all right, and then I think I'd like to give this game a try because the characters are just really cool. So thanks very much for watching and enjoying that. Be well. Take care, everyone. I'll see you around.